All right, we are live. Hey, what is up, YouTube boxing family? It is K-Rod here, back with another good video for y'all today, or live stream today. I'll be chopping it up with my brother, Mr. Mark Reyes Jr. We got a lot to talk about. I'm definitely going to ask him a bunch of questions, and yeah, it's going to be very interesting. So yeah, I'm just waiting up on him, and then we can get this done. So if you guys wanna, come come through and listen, then feel free. Salute to anybody that pulls up. Um, and yeah. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to get that interview in with Tevin Farmer. Um, that was unfortunate, but hopefully I can reconnect with Mr. Coach Chino Rivas, and then that way we can get everything set up. But yeah, I was definitely looking forward to that, and I was thinking me and Tevin we were gonna chop it up today, but um, yeah, I mean either way, it doesn't matter. Hopefully, if Tevin has any availability sooner than later in the future, I can definitely chop it up with him. So I'm still looking forward for that. But yeah, I'm just waiting up on Mark, and we can get this done. But yeah, salute to anybody that rolls in. And yeah, man, had some interesting boxing today. Had Danny Jacobs and John Ryder. I actually thought that fight was a bit of a robbery, in my honest opinion, or it was just like with the wrong decision in that fight. Unfortunately, Danny Jacobs he lost a 12 round split decision, if I'm not mistaken. It was like 115 to 113. John Ryder on two out of the three scorecards. So yeah, I don't know. I thought Ryder didn't do enough to win, but I thought Danny won like at least 8-4 or 7-5. But yeah, man, that was a very weird scoring, and I wasn't really a fan of that. But yeah, man, hopefully Danny Jacobs, he could probably get one last run out of a fight. I don't think like he's out of the woods. I mean, knowing that he did have his fight at, or I want to say this is his second fight at 168. Yeah, I wanna say so. I'm gonna take a look at that right now. But I think Danny he's a good fighter. As far as just like his level of opposition, I would say he should just gradually build it up. I mean, like anybody else that I could think he can beat. I don't know. I mean, John Ryder, I think he can obviously beat him if he were to run that back with him. But maybe other guys like Vladimir Shishkin, that's a good fight. Oh, we got Mr. Mark here. What's up? What is up, my brother?
Hey man, how's it going?
Oh, not much. I am happy to have you here today.
I'm happy
Oh,
we got to do it finally.
yeah. um, yeah. First of all, like I want to say thank you. It's been a long time coming, and
Of course.
it's an honor to chop it up with you. And yeah, I guess the very first question that I have to ask you is, could you explain to the audience who you are and what made you get into boxing?
My name is Mark Reyes Jr. I'm a professional fighter. I've been boxing now about 16 years. Shit, time flies. I'm going on 19 years of boxing.
Wow.
Yeah, 19 years of being in this sport. So, 14-1, 12 knockouts. From Tampa, Florida. My next fight will be, a local fight. It's been almost a year, over a year now since I've gotten the fight at home. So I'm blessed. I'm happy to be putting on a show for my home crowd. And aside from that, man, I'm a dad, a fighter, a son, and just a regular guy.
Oh, nice. Congratulations. as far as your career goes, like what's up the proper steps that you're trying to take to help you get further in the higher level? Because the division that you campaign at, I believe, is the welterweight division, and that's a really stacked division. So I wanted to ask you, that question.
Right. I said it 2 years ago. I wanted to be in the top 10 within a year. I mean, the top 100 within a year. I did that. I was in the top like 70. Haven't fought in a year, but coming back in my comeback fight against a guy who's got a good ranking, got a guy who's been in there with top contenders as far as Sergey Lipinets and Sean Porter. So I get to pretty much see how I fit within within those guys with this test that's coming for me on February 25th. Um, so with that, we got a crafty veteran in Eric Bonet who's obviously going to make me think in the ring. It's going to be a good fight, but a victory in this fight, pretty much puts me right back into where I was heading before my last fight on the Showbox card against Boca Chica. So I think I think going forward within the next year, I get to the top 10, and from there, it's fighting the right fight to put my name on the map to get a belt, and put me in contention to be one of the top names in the division.
Yeah, that's very interesting because like I was gonna ask you about that Janelson fight. Could you dive in a little bit deeper into that fight? Because it seems like that fight had a lot of bad blood in it, and it seems like that fight itself was like a little bit biased from the commentators, where they were saying that he was actually winning that fight, and I didn't really see it that way. I thought, you actually pulled it off.
Um, yeah. So let's see. We had a short camp. I didn't expect to get a call. I wasn't in the gym, so obviously I had been wanting the Janelson fight after I saw him beat this one kid, Nicholas Floss from Puerto Rico. After I seen him beat him and the way he thought of himself, I was like, you know what, I'd love to fight somebody like this. I think he's got the right style for me, and I think I'll be able to have a nice win with that resume. I think he was like 16-0, 17-0, something like that. So obviously that's good to have under your belt. But I think it was like first, second round, my legs just started to tighten up a lot. So it was difficult for me to get in and out as easily as I was doing. I came back to the corner. I think after the second round, I told Chino, and he's like, "Hey, you know what? We got 8 more rounds to fight." He's like, "You gotta figure out when to fight, how to fight, and make it look good. We gotta sell everything. So make sure that you don't basically don't give up the rounds. We need every round that we can get coming in on the B side." And I think I agree. I in my mind I'm 15-0. I didn't. That's not a loss in my mind. I beat a good fighter, and it's unfortunate the judges didn't see it that way. But this is the way boxing is. I'm not afraid of a no. I'm not afraid to let it go. So that happened. I got that through, and 14-1 doesn't sound bad. In the next couple of fights, I'll be looking to make it to about 18-1 and end up being in contention for a belt. So I don't think it holds me back at all, and I'm very fortunate of the opportunity that I got to have. A lot of people got to see me in a tough fight. I think a lot of people had doubts as far as what kind of a fighter I could be when there was adversity, and I think I answered that very well. Um, you know, when it comes to the boxing world, there's so many questions, so many doubts that people always have about you, and even when you prove yourself, they always have doubts. But it's a good thing to know that I put on a good performance, and that was only a 3-week camp. So I look forward to I look forward to having a full camp. For the next fight, I don't see it going past 5 rounds.
Yeah, I agree with you because I didn't really think that you had a hard time struggling with Janelson, and just looking at how Janelson's frame is at 147, I don't think that's at the right weight class for him. And I think based off of how you were responding to the shots, you had a lot better punch resistance and a lot better fundamentals built into the
Yeah,
style that you presented. And
right.
I wanted to follow up with that with like another question. Like how would you describe your style? In a simplistic manner. Like are you like a boxer, puncher, pure boxer, brawler? How would you see yourself?
I'm definitely. I wouldn't say I'm. A good way to put it was, I'm gonna say I'm a close distance boxer that can punch well. Um, I like to stay in like a mid range fight where I'm able to make the counters that I can, and use my boxing IQ. I think I fight best there, and I think it gives a lot of difficulty to my opponents that I'm able to be in and out in certain ways and avoid a lot of shots that they're trying to hurt me with. I think that was one of the things that Janelson I think had an issue with, was how much he got countered in the fight and how much he was missing certain shots. Like if you notice, one of us moved their head a lot more than the other one.
Yeah, I agree with that. That was even similar with that other fight that he had with Shenard Bunch, and I brought up the same thing to him,
Mm-hmm.
and he agreed with me. It's just like you know, pure boxing fundamentals help you get far, and seems like a lot of fighters abandon that, and they just try to impress at the crowd to try to go for knockouts and try to act like that. They need to create this hype train
Right.
of just rock 'em, sock 'em robots versus actually mastering the sport and learning the game to be more physically and mentally crafted at it.
That's exactly right. I think one of my favorite people to watch, and it's due in part because he had to be a pure boxer. Paulie Malignaggi, um,
Oh
Tevin
man,
Farmer's, Tevin Farmer is, now a newer version of that, where not a guy with a lot of power, but great boxing ability, great ring IQ, and he's able to do things. And he has to stay within. And you have to think about this: that these guys have to stay within the fight for the entire 3 minutes of every single round. Why? Because they're not putting guys out with one punch. They can't rely on that authoritative power to say, oh, okay, you know what, I'll stop this guy from coming in because I'm hitting him with certain shots. That I know he has to think twice. Um, so I like watching guys like that, and I try to put certain things into my own style and into my own type of movement. And I have been blessed with the ability to be able to punch a little bit. So when you have a boxer that's able to use those tools, to use that kind of arsenal, be able to hit guys on angles with shots that are actually hurting them, then you have somebody that can provide a lot of problems.
yeah. As far as like how you like would see yourself, with all the top killers in the welterweight division,
Right.
who out of the top, let's just say 10 or 15 fighters in that weight class that would present you like a tougher puzzle to solve?
Right now, it's funny because they're the two guys that are still kind of coming up, but I have it as Virgil Ortiz. His work rate, punch output is crazy, and he's got good power, and he's honestly a decent boxer. He's a better boxer than what people give him credit for, because he's coming in, he's trying to take guys out. But I see the little things that he does. And then the other one is Jerron Ennis, kid. These guys possess great power. He's got more boxing ability. He can switch well, so he's obviously going to present a lot of problems for anybody in the welterweight division. So I think those two, off the top of my head, those two are the biggest challenge. Seeing as though they'll probably be at that weight as well for a number of years.
Yeah, because I think honestly, like me personally, like the toughest fights that I could see you in there with would be a guy like Boots, and I probably say maybe like maybe if he's still around, probably Rashidi Ellis because
Yeah,
I
that's another
think
guy.
I think like the biggest problem in the welterweight division is that if you don't have power in the welterweight division to keep somebody off of you, it's gonna end up like a heavyweight situation where
Hmm.
that one shot is gonna like really take you to deep waters, and then I don't know if you can like agree with me that in the welterweight division it's all about you know mastering your fundamentals versus just relying off of that big one shot knockout punch.
Right. I think welterweight. And it's funny because I think 154 has a bit of it too, where you got guys that are well, one welterweight. You're fighting with 8 ounce gloves. You know, it's the last weight class with still 8 ounce gloves. That obviously adds to a little bit of the punch force that you're absorbing. But now you got guys that are very skilled and like, not to take away from those bigger guys that are at heavyweight and light heavyweight and whatnot. They're very skilled too, but the fine tuning of the skills a little different. And then you got guys that can really crack. I mean, you got and like I said, they're cracking with 8 ounce gloves. Yeah, obviously, you got to be able to hurt. You know, we're in a hurt business. You got to be able to hurt somebody um, in this sport.
God
And
damn.
if you're not doing that, then you're really picking a tough job. Picking a really tough job.
Yeah, I don't disagree.
Oh, and the next thing you gotta have a chin at 47 because, like I said, guys, you're cracking. You gotta have a chin. As much as you gotta have some kind of power for you to have the respect. So you gotta have a chin.
Say that to Amir Chen Khan.
Yeah, shit, man. And hey, you know what? Amir did well. Made a lot of money. Did great things in his boxing career. He's gonna have his last hurrah with Kell Brook.
Yeah.
Hey, more power to those guys. Especially Amir. I'm sure he dealt with a lot of stuff coming up with that chin, but hey, he got somewhere that a lot of fighters don't get to go.
Yeah, speaking of which, what would you say that is your biggest attribute that you have right now to your skill set?
I say it's the how I set myself up for shots using my feet. That's probably my biggest attribute. If your feet get you into position, they get you out of harm's way, get you out of the way of shots, and get you right back. So, um, I everything comes from that. You got good feet, you're able to set yourself up for good shots, and you're able to make your opponents, do a lot of thinking while you're in there. So it helps. So I say my feet.
Did you use any of those attributes back in the amateurs, or how would you see yourself progressing now versus what you did, as an amateur if you had done that?
As an amateur, I'd say I use them, but not always to. I use them more so to get away from shots. And one of the things that we've been working on is just executing. That's a big emphasis on executing. Like I said, we're in a hurt business, and we can't forgive these fighters. For making them miss one or two times. You gotta be able to give them back something. So as an amateur, I say I made guys miss well, but I wasn't executing and taking advantage and exploiting those opportunities. As a pro now, that's pretty much what I'm making my bread and butter off of is, staying busy in between, but really, really countering with good shots and being in the right place for it. And that's something that we'll look forward to doing on February 25th. That's what we've been working on.
Yeah, that's very interesting that you say that because I kind of truly believe that a lot of fighters actually do abandon that a lot, and the thing is that I think boxing has really become so downhill where you don't see the fundamentals and the methodology into a style. You just expect somebody getting knocked out or just getting brutally beat up, and people don't understand like that those fighters that do go through a lot of punishment, they just abandon, their fundamentals because, I don't know if you can agree with me, but if you don't know how to box, then how are you ever going to become a world champion?
Right. As far as I know, there's only one guy like that, and that's Deontay Wilder. But it's like it's
Yeah.
oh, you have to. That's the foundation. That's the foundation to everything. With that, with the feet. With the boxing ability, you got to be able to use your head and the rest of your body in ways to avoid punches, get out of the way of shots, and then also executing and ripping shots at the same time. Um, this is something that fighters should work on all the time in sparring and things like that. I think one of the reasons that it might be that way is because some guys, they get into sparring and it's just a heated war and they don't learn a whole lot. They're like, well, what'd you learn? I learned how to give an ass whipping, or I learned how to take an ass whipping. But okay, how did you get there? How did you arrive to that? And a lot of guys are caught up in that versus, okay, I use my jab like this. Oh, I use this jab in this way, and behind that, I was able to put these shots together. Or I'm walking over this hook that way so I can set up this right hand down the middle. Little things, just simple things that you're able to do when you're thinking in there versus just getting in there and doing it. By the time the fight comes around, that's when it's time to just do it. But all the preparation that comes with it, that's when you're thinking the most.
Yeah, I agree with that. Now, as far as your trainer, who are you with, and what have they given to you as far as what you've learned and developed with them?
Right now, I'm training with Mark Reyes. He's had a couple of fighters. I think his last fighter um, that you would know was probably like Ryan Martin and
Yeah, yep, I know.
this what's this kid's name? Edgar Berlanga. The last
Oh,
two
really?
fighters.
Berlanga got trained by him?
Yeah, Berlanga was trained by him. I think it was up until he was like 12, 13 fights. And then he went with Rozier.
Yeah,
Uh,
Andre Rozier.
Right.
Yeah,
But yeah, no, we've been working on a lot of things, man. And I like the mind of Mark Foray. He's um he's real old school for certain things, and like I said, we're in a hurt business, and that's what we focus on is how we can hurt, how we can do a lot of damage, and continue it and not sustain much damage ourselves.
yeah, and I believe that a lot of fighters don't master their defense a lot, and they just take a lot of unnecessary punishment. And it seems like that. Well, I don't even know if we can like agree, but it seems like after let the Floyd Mayweather era had ended, a lot of fighters are just trying to go for knockouts, and they end up getting hurt a lot more in the process. And it seems like that there's more brawlers rather than pure fundamentalists. Boxers.
I can agree to that, and I think it has a lot to do with how media covers fighters that are obviously knockout artists versus guys that are, pure boxers, not getting the big emphatic wins the way the knockout artists are. So I think that has some play to it as well. But man, in the end, it doesn't matter. In my mind, it doesn't matter. The fans, I love the fans. I love to put on a great show. And regardless, I'm going to put on a great show, whether I box or I come in for the kill. But my kids, my kids, my family are who I think of the most. And I got to protect my brain. I got to protect my head. I want to leave this sport with the same kind of mindset that I came going in. And that's to give the fans a good show, to make money, and leave with my health and my mind intact.
Do you have any other plans after boxing?
Oh,
Like,
I got a lot of plans, man.
yeah.
A lot of plans, but uh, I want to get I want to get through these next I want to get through these next 5 years first, and then I got a whole lot of living to do. But for now, I'm living for boxing.
um, as far as your goals of what you want to do in the sport, how far do you believe you can go in the sport, and what's like the highest weight class do you believe that you can end your career at?
I think I'll stay at 47 for a while. I make the weight okay, and I think um I think being at least a unified champion at 147, and then moving up to 154 and becoming a world champion or maybe a unified champion at 154. I think that's perfect for the next couple of years. I respect a lot of the guys that are there. Obviously, it's not going to be easy, but I think I have the talent, and the and the mindset to be able to acquire those accomplishments.
As far as the matchmaking goes, what's the goal that you're trying to go for? Are you trying to go for a big promotional network like the PBC, DAZN, or Top Rank, or do you think that you should move your career as a free agent?
Yeah, so I'm actually with a promoter right now. He works with a lot of those guys, PBC, and I think within the next couple of months, we get another win, um, as well as the win on February 25th. I think you'll probably see me on PBC fighting for some type of eliminator or something.
Oh,
Yeah,
nice.
so it's gonna be a big year. We had a lot of things in the works, and this February 25th card is only one step closer to getting to that goal. So um, I'm really happy. I'm really excited. This is everything that I've worked my entire life for. So it's this year, and then we assess and view everything once we get there. But those are the plans. Those are the plans for this year.
Nice. So, as far as getting ranked by all the sanctioning bodies, how much further are you away from that goal? Because it seems like the rankings in all these sanctioning bodies are extremely rigged and very biased. And
Yeah.
I don't know how that actually works when you're starting out. Could you probably dive in a bit deeper about that?
Yeah, so the way they usually work, you go ahead and you fight for a small, like, continental belt or something, just to get you within that organization ranked and things like that. You can go ahead and vacate it. That small belt doesn't really matter. What you want to get to eventually is like a intercontinental type of belt, and that way you're now ranking yourself within a more global spectrum, and now you'll see yourself, climbing the rankings. And obviously, there's a lot of sanctioning fees that you're paying and things like that, which are obviously nice to the organization. And then eventually, you're getting yourself within the top 10 guys, and you're looking at a like a WBC silver or something like that. And once you go ahead and capture that, then you start looking at these world champions. Okay, who's next? Who can I get?
Do you have like a set goal of like trying to go for like certain fights to become a prize fighter, or do you see yourself being more of a legacy fighter?
That's tough, man. In the end, I think I think the legacy, man, what you leave behind is everything. And I want my kids to look at what I've accomplished and be proud of that. I don't just fight for the money. Obviously, the money is nice. The money's gonna come, but the most important thing, man, is what are you leaving behind when the name is done, when the fighting is over. Um, how are people gonna remember you?
Yeah, that's very interesting that you say that because a lot of fighters would usually take like the path of going prize fighting, but they don't understand that the legacy kind of plays a major benefactor to it. And I
Absolutely.
think I think
When you
yeah.
look at guys that have a big legacy, behind them in the sport of boxing, the money followed them. It didn't. It kind of almost went hand in hand. Now you got guys that they kind of just prize fight. Yeah, they make good money, and might be set for life in some cases. Some of them, they misspend their money. But when you got guys that have set behind a legacy where their name is remembered in the boxing books for the rest of boxing's history, that means more. The money's gonna come regardless. Once you get to a certain point like that, look at Canelo, look at Mayweather. Look at Chavez. You know, look at these guys that have been there that had countries behind them, and Felix Trinidad. Um, it, the names can go on, and the names that people are going to look and say, "Oh, I remember that guy fighting. What a great fighter."
Yeah, I was gonna ask you, who were the fighters that you looked up to growing up?
Uh, it's I didn't get to see a whole lot. Um, so I'd say like local guys. I always looked at Winky. I liked watching Winky. I trained at that 49th Street gym as a kid, and I would see those guys come in. I'd see those guys spar. I'd see how they worked, things like that. And then fell in love with Roy Jones' style. The speed, boxing movement, IQ, ability, everything. And then as far as like my heritage, Puerto Rican fighters, of course, there's Felix Trinidad, there's Camacho, and Miguel Cotto.
Yeah, I definitely like those guys. Primarily, like I like, like the old school fighters, like Wilfredo Benitez and Carlos Ortiz.
Yeah, and and those guys like uh when are you ever gonna see a champion, a world champion at 17 years old again?
I was just about to ask you about the Puerto Rican talent that's out right now. How do you see the political state of those fighters?
To be honest, man, I don't know. It's we I feel like we're due. I feel like ever since Cotto left, guys, they've gotten close, but nobody's completely taken that torch and say, hey, you know what, I'm the next big thing. So it's tough. I think it's up for grabs. There's a few fighters out there that have the talent. Just have to see how their careers progress.
Yeah, because I'm definitely gonna be riding with you all the way. So
Thank you.
it's just
Appreciate
that I always ask that question because a lot of people try to say Puerto Rican boxing is dead, but that's obviously not true because there's like a lot, there's a lot of killers out there, but people don't promote them the right way. And I kind
Right.
of feel like for mainstream media boxing, they don't look at what the right fighters that they want to talk about. They always go to let the fighters that come out of at the top rank or PBC side. But I'll just use guys like Xander Sayas, Edgar Berlanga. They'll always keep talking about those guys, but they never talk about guys like Subriel Matias, Victor Padilla,
Yeah.
um, definitely Luis Melendez, guys like who else? Uh, what's his name? Oh, Brian Polacco, right? And
Polanco, yeah.
who else?
He's early on in his career though. Victor Padilla is also a little early in his career. The one that doesn't get a lot of like notoriety is for the amount of fights that he's had and the type of outings he's had too is Matias. I think can't say he's the most skilled fighter at that weight class, but kid comes to fight. He's throwing 60, 80 punches around. Obviously, he can punch well, and that's going to be overwhelming for a lot of fighters. His record was like 17-1. He just stopped the guy the first guy to ever beat him. So I think he came back and answered a lot of questions.
Yeah, I was also going to bring up other fighters, guys like Henry Moncho LeBron, Omar Rosario, Abraham Nova, and
Yep.
I believe, uh, but the other fighters that Kano mentioned, Julio Solis and Jean Guerra, right?
Yeah, yeah. We got a few more, and again, some of these guys are in their beginning stages of their career. They're I think a good number of the ones that you mentioned are less than 10 fights in. Good fighters, crafty fighters. I think Abraham Nova probably has the most, if I'm not mistaken, but another good fighter. Um, yeah, these guys don't. It's tough. Like I said, they don't always get the media coverage the way they should. That's just kind of how the way the boxing world is starting to become. In some ways, it's almost like baseball. You got the best guys in baseball, and nobody even knows who the hell they are.
Yeah.
So
Same
that's
thing in
tough.
basketball. But
Yeah. So they gotta. I think it's also somewhat of the boxing media's job to really get the names out of some of these fighters, especially the fighters that are doing well, especially the fighters that are trying to put boxing on the map for a lot of new fans. You got everybody talking about a Ryan Garcia, but in reality, I mean, and not that I'm knocking him as a fighter. I think he's skilled. I think he's capable of a lot, and a lot of people doubt him. But nonetheless, he's more on social media than he is boxing. He got real guys that are actually out here fighting.
yeah, he seems like the undisputed social media, world champion. Not no.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly that.
um, I wanted to ask, as far as like Puerto Rican boxing, do you feel like Puerto Rican fighters are better when they come over here to the States and train, or are they better when they come back from the island?
That's a good question. I'm gonna say when they stay at home and train there. It's something about being on that island in that atmosphere. Um, it roots you a little different. So I'm gonna say that when they come back from there and they're fighting, that's when they're at their best.
Yeah, because some other people would say that's not a good idea, like because of what the distractions, in that particular environment. But I just wanted to ask you that.
Yeah.
Uh,
I mean, nonetheless, that's anywhere you go. If you create distractions around you or you allow yourself to be pulled in by distractions, no matter where you are, it's gonna show. But if you're able to stay focused, able to stay right within the training camp, absolutely. I think it's only gonna empower you a little bit more for that fight.
Got it. As far as your marketability as a fighter, what particular venues do you wish to, garner your, popularity fan base to grow as a fighter? Do you do you have certain fights where you want to, expand like your fan base in? To
Abs- yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And it's mostly that the fight where the most fight fans are. So obviously that's New York, that's Texas, that's Vegas, that's California. If I can get fans somewhere in LA, Houston, Dallas, um, Las Vegas, New York City, and obviously being at home. If I come back home, I'd like to have a big venue one day, maybe at the Amalie Arena where the Lightning play, where they
Oh
host a
yeah,
big
yeah,
event.
yeah.
So that's a big goal. That's something I would like to do within my career.
As far as I guess that the media coverage goes, do you have people that put you on that up and coming radar that like that do try to give you that type of promotion praise to
Yeah, I've got a few people that do, and then there's obviously people that could um, I would say could maybe put some more recognition. But yeah, man, I got a good number of people that really try to help me out with that. Right now, I got a friend that I just spoke with earlier. I got to send him a couple of articles. We're gonna go ahead and post something for the Tampa Bay Times in the newspaper. Just promoting this fight, talking about a Tampa native, and also someone who's trying to do something with their life and their career.
That's interesting. Because I say that because I wanted to see it like as far as who you connect with that helps your branding more because I don't know if you can agree, but do you believe that a lot of fighters need to start self promoting themselves more versus standing behind a promoter because the
Absolutely.
promoter is not gonna do what you believe that that promoter said to do on day one of what
One
they
hundred
were gonna
percent.
do.
100%. I'll kind of leave it like this. At the end of the day, you sign a 1099 tax form. You are not an employee. You're a self-employed person under some banner. Do everything that you can to bring yourself out there, to get your name out there.
Hmm. Yeah, that's very interesting because I want to say that the route that some fighters like Devin Haney do to become their own promoter is, the proper way to go. Do you believe that's a right way to go to maximize your dollar in the sport?
In the end, yeah. Once you've created a certain platform, a certain fan base, then I don't see why you wouldn't try to do that at least. You got guys. Miguel Cotto did it. Floyd Mayweather did it. You got some of the biggest names in the sport that decided to do that in the end because they saw the bigger picture.
Oh, yeah. I guess that's pretty much it. That was a really good, interesting statement that you made. Do you have any final words that you want to share to your audience that follows
Of
you?
course. Number one, thank you guys for tuning in and check me out February 25th. It's going to be a fantastic show, fireworks show, electric. I get to put myself to a nice test with Eric Bonet. I look forward to that, and I look forward to seeing everybody there. If you haven't purchased your tickets, go ahead and do so now. I'm trying to sell this event out. Um, Aside from that, follow me on Instagram, official Mark Reyes Jr. Follow my career, guys. It's only up from here.
Can't
Yeah.
wait for
Thank
it.
you to the host. Thank you to the host. I appreciate you for bringing me on.
Yeah, most definitely. We got to do this again, bro.
Yeah, we'll definitely get it. We'll definitely get it together sometime, maybe before the fight. If not, for sure after the fight.
Yeah, man. I hope you knock out Eric Bonet, man.
Thank you, man. Yeah, I'm trying to do it inside of 5. So we'll see how that goes. Thank you,
Yeah,
man.
he's a tough ass fighter for sure.
Yeah, exactly. So it
All right.
puts me in good company if I get to do that. I think only Sean Porter did it.
Yeah,
So
best of luck to you. Best of luck to
thank
you, man.
thank you. I'll talk to you later, man.
All right, peace out, brother. All right, that's about it. I appreciate you guys. Be sure to hit that like button, subscribe, share the video, do what y'all got to do. Salute to the mighty, mighty LDBC. And I'll see you guys tomorrow. I think I should have Rihanna Rios tomorrow, for the show. And I think that's about it. I'll just cover more boxing content for the channel. And yeah, that's about it, man. I appreciate you guys. Thank you, Thomas, for coming in. Salute to you, Kano, and salute to Mr. Tay Jones. Salute to you. I appreciate every single one of you guys that came through. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to get Tevin Farmer on today. I guess he had some things to do, but I'm gonna, reach out, back to Coach Chino Rivas to see if we can, set up, or set that up for like another date. So I'll see you guys later. Thank you very much for watching, and salute to Mark Reyes Jr. for coming on. All right, peace out. I'll see y'all. Bye.